Yo, yo, you know what it is. LA Icon Beyond the Label podcast right here, brought to you by Shaka. Where make sure you check out shakaware.com for all your streetwear essentials. As you could see, me and the champ right here are wearing the script shorts. My man Gunt's on the 3M. I got on the designer tee per usual. Right here with the legendary, former undisputed light welterweight champion of the world, Jose Ramirez. What's cracking with you, G?
Not much, man. Just back in camp, man. Excited to be back in the ring soon. And, being consistent, man. It's been a while since I fought twice a year. And so I'm looking forward to that.
How do you feel about that type of consistency, doing 2 fights a year? Is it good? Is it bad?
It's the best, man. I mean, being consistent, bro. It's what defines you. It's what keeps you on your toes, man. Keeps you sharp and it keeps you hungry, Sometimes when you fight once a year, a lot of it had to do with the pandemic. When the pandemic hit, but also sometimes the promoter gets a little lazy on you, so they're focused too much on how much you get paid, so they kind of put you on the sidelines unless something big happens, and if that fight doesn't happen, then you stay in the sidelines. So now I'm with Golden Boy now, so he's excited. We're back in camp.
We'll get to all that fun stuff right there. Let's go all the way back to the beginning, big dog. Where did you grow up and what was it like growing up there?
Yeah, man. So I grew up in a small town of Avenal. It's called Avenal, California. It's
prison town.
Yeah, man. It was known for its state prison. It's a small little town in the central part of California, just nothing but agricultural. In that area, a lot of first generation like myself, a lot of kids. Very little, very small town. Probably at the time maybe 6,000 people, and the population in the state prison was about the same, So yeah, man. But it was a blessing too, bro.
Did your parents work in the field?
My father worked in the fields. He came in 1980 something, and my mother, she came with her family too, from Michoacan, and
that's right.
They both, man, Avenal. My uncle, which is my mom's brother, was the crew boss, and my dad was out there working in the fields, and then he invited him over to the house, and at the time they were living in a small apartment, and my mother, she cooked mole, Michoacan style, fire, and my dad said, you know what, this lady, I'm keeping her for me, so that's how they met, man.
That's dope.
It was a cooking.
I'm mad at it. As you can see, I enjoy cooking myself. So then it's safe to say that hard work is in your blood.
That's it, man. We, a lot of people, sometimes overlook central part of California. They think about just Southern California and Northern California, but, central part of California, a lot of immigrants, bro, a lot of hardworking people that work in the fields, to give their families a better life. So, but it was a blessing too, no one had more than the other. It was not that much distractions, it was so small, for people to go there and move. The only reason why people live there, at least the middle class, was because there were CEOs at the Avenal State Prison, or there were teachers at the Avenal schools. Other than that, man, everybody worked in the field, so everyone was on the same level.
Mostly,
yeah. So there was no racism. There was no, it was a town where all you needed was Spanish, and like I said, everybody was alike. So it was cool.
I respect it. Talk to me about boxing as a kid, because I'm familiar with your story a little bit, and I know you started boxing as a child. Did your dad just take you there just for it, or did you have a want to go?
Nah, man. No one in my family boxed before, but I come from a family that were very competitive, in their own way.
And that's right.
Out there in Michoacan, man, my uncles, the bloodline was tough, in their own way, and they were back and forth at the time. My uncles, they were undocumented, but they were back and forth. They used to, as a matter of fact, they used to drive an Impala 64.
That's right.
And they used to go to Michoacan and back to Avenal and back to Michoacan. But
should have kept the Impala.
Yeah, man. My uncle, unfortunately, he passed away, man.
Rest in peace to your uncle, brother.
So, but anyways, yeah, man, I just had it in me to be very competitive, and the boxing gym was part of the police, the sheriff's activities. Like, we were so small, we had no police department, so it's part of the sheriff. So it was something that opened up new. Actually, my coach at the time, he moved from East LA, and he had a boxing background in him. So he went to Avenal and he opened up this. He was a CEO at the Avenal State Prison, and he's like, you know what? At the time, it was when the law passed, like in 1999, where they were taking away all the weights, all the heavy weights from the prisons. So my trainer at the time,
Came up on all the weights.
he came up all the way. He's like, let's open up a gym for the kids in Avenel.
Boom, bam.
So everybody was getting registered, and my dad, he saw that I had the energy, that competitiveness in me to go in there. So he signed me up. Just me and my brothers, and I'm the one that stayed with it.
What's it like boxing as a little boy? Because my little son, I bring into the gym. You see me come here a lot, whatever, and he wants to box. I mean, he's not saying, "Daddy, I want to be world champion," but he made me buy him like a little punching bag and little stuff. What's it like being a young man?
Yeah, man. I started boxing when I was 8 years old. I was 57 pounds, 60 pounds at the time. And, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I was just excited to learn. And when I got there, I was kind of behind. I was like 6 months behind from other kids, and the other kids were already competing. So I would see them, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to stay an extra 20 minutes and work on the combinations I learned. And I would just, I wanted to just be the best. But it was good, man. I think boxing overall, to answer your question is in the sense of kids boxing, it's good, man. It's good because it builds character, it builds character and, self-defense. But I think someone who knows how to control their power, control their skills, it's more dangerous than someone who doesn't, who's kind of reckless, So it builds character as far as like self-defense, and you learn how to use it for the right reasons, And boxing shaped me a lot, man. So it's I think every kid out there should get into karate, get into something like martial arts or even boxing, just to kind of build character and learn some discipline,
Did you win any competitions, tournaments, etc. when you were a child?
Yeah, man. When I was 8 years old, after a month and a half only, I got my amateur boxing license to start competing.
Fire.
And I went to Fresno, which was the nearest big city, and I fought a kid who was a year older from Visalia. And I won my first amateur fight, and I got this trophy this big, bro.
Fire.
At the time, they were made of the marbles. I remember. The foundation was marbles, so they were pretty heavy.
Yeah, it was fire.
And that shit was heavy, man. But I was excited, bro. I was like, man, I was a soccer player at the time. I was cross country runner.
Oh, so you had super endurance,
bro. I was, a baseball player.
You're athletic.
I was very athletic, bro. And I would get a small trophy at the end of the season. It didn't matter how many goals I scored, if I was first place in my meet, or if I scored the most home runs, I would get the same trophy. And in boxing, I got this big trophy for a 3-round, 1-minute rounds fight. I was like, okay, I think this is for me. It pays better. You know what I mean? It pays better, bro. So I was like, I'm gonna take this back to Little Avenel, and I'm gonna show it out to my friends, and that's how I got started, man. And I fought about 200 amateur fights.
It's a lot.
I went to my first JOs when I was 14 years old. I won my JOs at 14 years old. I won the JOs at 15 years old. I won the U.S. Men's Open at 16.
JOs the Junior Olympics.
The Junior Olympics. And I won the U.S. Men's at 17 years old. I won the U.S. Men's at 18 years old. I got the best fighter of the national tournament. I was ranked number 1. But I only lost once in the United States since I was 14 years old. And I won the Olympic trials, became an Olympian for Team USA. Then I went to start my professional career.
Talk to me about training for the adult Olympics. What was that like?
Well, back then, they changed the rules now in 2016. But back then in 2012, that's when I went to the Olympics. The age group was from 17 years old to 34. And now I believe it's from 19 to 40. But back then, you were 17 years old fighting 25, 29. The 17, from you being 17 fighting a 21-year-old, the power is different.
For sure.
So, man, when I was 17 and I won my first U.S. men's, I was like, shit, I'm the best men's fighter in the United States in my weight class,
Facts are facts.
And I was working at Starbucks at the time, so I was America's best boxing barista, bro. It was so cool.
That was a tagline in the press.
Yeah, man. Actually, there was the Fresno Bee printed out or something like that, And before that, I started working at Starbucks when I was a junior in high school. I started working in the fields when I was a freshman, sophomore, and then it just got too difficult. I started, taking boxing too serious, so it was hard to manage work and boxing in school. So I got a job at Starbucks, like 4 hours. Tuesdays and Thursdays 4 hours, and then Saturdays and Sundays 8-hour shifts. So it was
that's intense.
Part time.
How far along did you make it in the Olympics?
I lost in the third round. So one in the next fight would have been for the silver. I mean for the bronze, and then the next one after that would have been for the gold or silver. So I got a bye, and then I won a fight, and then I made it to the third round.
How did you take that loss?
It was controversial, bro. You know, different. I scored a knockdown and I still lost the fight. It was just, you know, the point system, the scoring system was different. It was point system back then. It wasn't rounds. It was like every little tap was a pound. It was a point. And 3 out of the 5 judges, they have to tap the button at the same time in order for you to score.
Register it.
Yeah, well, I would say two guys saw it and the other 3 missed it. You wouldn't score, even though it was a clear shot. Just depending on. There was a lot of controversial in the scoring back then. They changed the rules after that.
We'll talk about you dealing with a few where I'm going with this is you've dealt with a lot of controversial loss. Not a lot. The 2 losses you suffered, I guess.
Yeah,
that one and that. We'll talk about it though.
Cool.
My question to you is I realize that, and I know that you're a Golden Gloves champion.
Yep.
What exactly does that entail? How do you become a Golden Gloves?
Oh, there's the Golden Gloves tournaments. You know, there's a national tournament called the Golden Gloves, and you know, that's a great. I mean, it's a great title to have, bro. But at the end of the day, you know, winning the U.S. tryouts, you fight the Golden Gloves champion, you fight the national PAL champion, you fight the best of the best. So that, you know, when you rank number 1, that's when you start getting paid monthly, because you're registered as the number 1 fighter in your weight class for the nation. So I think that right there means a little bit more in the amateur boxing categories. But, you know, the amateur, bro, right now, I think if I was to tell myself back then, it was be more consistent, because nobody remembers the amateur record, bro. You know, people just focus on your professional career. And so win or lose, just keep on fighting, keep on getting that experience.
Talk to me about signing with Bob Arum and Top Rank.
Yeah, man. So in 2012, before 2012, actually, I went to go visit Oscar and Richard, who was Oscar's right-hand man at the time. And they offered me to sponsor me $3,000 a month just for me to stop working at Starbucks, for me to just focus on, you know, on making the Olympic team, which I did. But afterwards, I think, we could all agree Oscar was dealing with some personal stuff that he wasn't too into the company. So I was able to see that. And then Top Rank came in with the same offer. And Top Rank at the time, they were just, you know, they had all the Hall of Famers, you know, from Bruce Trampler, who was Oscar De La's matchmaker, who became my matchmaker, and Brad Goodman, who became a Hall of Famer. I mean, you know, all the OGs at Top Rank, man, they knew their stuff. They knew how to build a fighter to become a great fighter, not just an overhyped fighter. You know what I mean? So a fighter that's gonna become a champion and stay as a champion. I saw that, man. I saw that in Top Rank. So I was like, you know what? I think, you know, and it was the same group that built Mayweather. It was the same group that built Oscar De La. It was the same team. So that's why I decided to sign with Top Rank at the time. And how important are those particular individuals to making a boxer? Bro, you know, it's everything, man. Like you have a great team, you know, you could become a world champion and stay a world champion. And, you know, they'll build you as a fighter to be able to fight any style, to go through any adversity for you to become and stay at the highest level for a long time. And I think, you know, sometimes if you're not built properly, you know, you look good, and then you get to that finally that opportunity. That super fight, and then you get, you know, then you might lose in a way that could destroy you in the way you lost. You know what I mean? So yeah, because you could lose and still be cool. You could lose and be like done. Mentally be like, you know what? Maybe I wasn't good at, you know, this whole time. Maybe it was just the competition was so bad, it made me look good. And now with social media and everything, bro, that's happening more than you gotta be. Everything's getting exasperated. Exactly. So everybody right now has this momentum, you know, through the social media, through the fans, through the influencers, you know. So, but you know, overall, man, I think as long as they stay focused in the gym, you know, not pay too much attention to that, they'll be all right. How would you describe your boxing style if you could? Yeah, so, you know, some people might see me as an aggressive fighter, you know, a fighter that keeps coming in. But, you know, I think, you know, thanks to my amateur experience, you know, I know how to box, man. I know how to move around. That I'm faster than what most people think I am. And I think that always catches them for surprise, bro. And the power that I have, too. And it's using small little angles that when you're in front of me, you get to see. Sometimes from the outside looking in, it's it's hard to see those little skills. But I'm just a fighter, bro, that fights with everything I have, bro. I make sure I leave it all in the ring.
I can say that you're definitely a powerful puncher. You have, what is it, 18 or 19 KOs? 18?
Yeah, 18 knockouts.
18 knockouts, so that's more than half your fights.
Yeah.
And I've had the pleasure of putting on the
shield,
the body thingy,
body shield,
and taking some punches, and I wasn't very I've been in the ring with a couple of boxers, taking some punches, and for the camera I might have added a little extra, but now you actually fucking hurt me.
Yeah.
And I feel disrespect. No, I'm just kidding. Nah, yeah, those are some powerful punches you laid on me, brother. So I definitely know you got power. What was your first big payout in a fight?
Bro, like most people don't know, man, but right now the money came like in 2019, 2020.
Yep.
And then kind of went kind of low dry, and now it's because the Saudis is back up again. But my first world title in 2018, in March of 2018, I got paid $125,000 for my first world title. And then 4 months later, I got paid $500,000. And since 2019, I've been getting paid 7 figures ever since.
Fucking five. That's amazing.
Yeah, so the biggest in 1 year and 2 fights was probably 2019. I got with sponsors and everything, I made a little bit over $5 million 1 year.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this. So on the first fight with the $125 that you got, what was the first thing you bought? Was it the lamp?
Man, nah, man, nothing, bro. At 125, I paid my coaches. I paid, my training camp.
Would you get left with like 50?
After my taxes, I was probably left maybe from just the purse itself for like 70 grand.
That's cool.
I was making about 200, 300 grand in sponsorships throughout the year. So
that's damn good.
So, I've been blessed since that's as an Olympian, that's what's helped me the most is
the sponsors.
The sponsors. Ever since I came out of the Olympics, man, I made, for the first years, I was making more in sponsorship money than in fighting by far. Until 2018. But yeah, man, I just kind of saved it, and I was so excited to become a world champion. I couldn't wait to go back in the gym and just be better and do better. So I had no time to really think about money. I was so focused, and then I think that's what made me the most dangerous, bro. That's when I forgot about the money and I just focused on being the best. And just accomplishing more, bro.
Because you had the availability mentally to not worry about the bullshit, that money that involved your finances. You didn't have to worry about your finances.
Well, at the time, I ain't own a house yet. I ain't own anything. I had no family at the time. I was just by myself, and my apartment was getting covered by when I was making enough of my sponsorship to cover my rent. At the time, I was staying in Hollywood. I was training underneath Freddie Roach. I trained with him for 4 years.
Shout out to him.
Shout out to Freddie Roach, man, and to my godfather who made me an Olympian, Armando Mancinas from Avenal. And but yeah, it was Freddie that I became a world champion with Freddie, and then after that I came with Robert Garcia to take it to the next level. But there was just no time. There was no time to celebrate. The whole, for me, there was no time to focus on fame. The social media wasn't as big back then.
Yeah, it wasn't a thing yet.
No one. It wasn't about showing off like, oh, check out my car, check out this, check out my clothing, check out my Gucci shoes. There was no time for that. It was and then the way I grew up in a small town, I never really had that, to focus on. So I never really worried about that, bro. So I was just back in the gym, and, I fought in September, a couple months after under Robert Garcia. So I was here training for 3 months before I fought. And I beat a Roscoe, who was undefeated at the time. And he was, I believe, I was 23-0. He was 26, 27-0. So that was a good title defense, for myself. And that's when I went to go fight Cepeda. That's when in 2019, that's when I bought my first house.
I remember, I'm not saying I know Cepeda all super close, but I've been in a training camp with him, and he's a dog for sure.
Oh yeah, he is, man. He's crafty, bro. He's a little crafty. He's
he's not a pushover to say the least.
He's not a pushover, nah. You know, I don't know where he's at right now in his career, but then he was always waiting for that opportunity to become a world champion. You know, so he was definitely a tough guy. I bought my house at the time though. In 2019, I bought my first 7-figure house, and then I bought my ranch. A couple months after, when I knocked out Hooker for the unit to become unified.
That was fire, fool.
Yeah, so
knocking out
Maurice Hooker in the 6th round.
Hooker was nasty.
Yeah,
business.
he was another undefeated guy in Texas. I went out there, man. I performed. It was one of my best performances in my career, and then the pandemic came in. You know, and I'm not gonna say, you know, that's an excuse, but not being consistent was my biggest mistake, bro. In boxing, you know.
But you had grinded super hard for all them titles. You became undisputed, fool. Like,
yeah, well, I fought for the undisputed, so I fought, you know.
well, yeah, well, you know what I mean. You were unified. That's
I
that
became
was
unified, and I fought. Well, I fought for all 4 titles, you know. So not too many fighters get to do that, bro. I mean, there's only been, I believe, like 8 undisputed champions in the history of the 4 world eras, 4 title era. So it's, you know, it's a big accomplishment, man. But I just feel like, bro, I feel like there's still a lot for me to go out there and.
No, absolutely. What are some big investments that you made? Not big, but what are some smart investments that you feel like you've made?
So
with your money.
In 2018, you know, I didn't buy a house, but I opened up a labor contracting business for my family.
Fire.
And I remember I used $100,000 of what I made that year to start my business, and that was for my father. My father was a field worker for a long time, and then he became a crew boss. A supervisor for a contractor that I met, who was one of the biggest contractors in the Central Valley. He employs about 36,000 people.
That's amazing.
And the highest time of the year during the harvest season. So my dad was one of his supervisors. And then in 2018, I told my dad, hey, you become a contractor. Go get your license. I support you. So I gave him $100,000. Put it, you know, we started Ramirez Ag, and now my father employs about 240 workers right now.
Fire shit.
So he's making that. That gave my family enough. I mean, it took him about 3 years for it to really pick up. But now he bought himself a $900,000 house, and now he bought himself 2 trucks, and he employs people and is paying the family. He's taking care of the family without using my principal.
That's
awesome.
know,
so now he has his business. And then
he probably already paid you back.
Well, I haven't paid myself $1 back.
You know what I'm saying, though? Like, the money's been generated.
100%. A lot more. That's gonna be the future for me, maybe my kids, my nephews. You know, that's gonna be the legacy for Ramirez Ag, besides me in boxing.
Period.
Yeah, because I feel like we could take it to the level to where we employ thousands of people. You know, it's going. I mean,
for sure.
Man, we're right now, our payroll is about $120,000 a week. But we're gonna take it to the next level, bro.
There's one thing that you did that I find super, super admirable, because I do whatever I can for the kids, like giveaways with the backpacks.
Yeah.
The turkey giveaways, the Christmas stuff that we do or whatever.
Yeah.
I dress up as Santa, go give away pallets of toys.
Yeah.
You have a sponsorship for the kids.
Yep.
Scholarship for the kids. I'm sorry, scholarship for the kids. Talk to me about how that sparked in your mind, or what it feels like to be able to help the kids like that, man.
You know, my manager, Rick Meridian, and
Rick's your manager too?
Rick, yeah.
I mean, I'm the one. Shout out to Rick.
Shout out to Rick, man.
Rick.
Yeah, I mean, I met him in 2011, and he became a manager since, and then now he manages Virgil Ortiz and other fighters. So he's a hustler, bro. Rick, bro, he moves. So he introduced me to everybody in Fresno. At the time I moved to Fresno, you know, I got my CPA from Fresno. I got my lawyer from Fresno.
That's right.
And my whole team together, right? So then I became very good friends with the president at Fresno State. So he, you know, the whole team just kind of motivated me to start a scholarship fund that's going to continue on even after I'm gone, bro. Like this is we give the interest of what the principal makes. So it's like, it's a never ending scholarship.
Yeah, it's going to continue to accrue forever.
Yeah. So I started with $5,000, and then now we have 6 figures in there, maybe a little bit more. But not just that, bro. I got together with some community leaders that started this other campaigns, to where we give away maybe 3,000 turkeys a year for Thanksgiving.
That's awesome.
We feed thousands of families, bro. And
one day I hope to reach that level.
Yeah,
I'm not there yet, but yeah.
And then And then for the farm workers, I during the pandemic, I spent about, out of my money, maybe like $30,000, but I raised about $120,000 to buy essential products for the field workers.
Super.
And I try to buy a car every year to donate to the Catholic Church in Avenel to make a bigger church. So what I do is I buy a brand new car. I give it out to the church. The church sells all the tickets and they keep all the proceeds.
Oh, like a raffle.
Like a raffle. And if I spend 20 grand on the car, they might sell $75,000 worth of tickets, and then they keep all the proceeds.
That's awesome.
You know, I don't keep anything but the tax write off. You know, but my mother, she's been a catechism teacher, so I'm very I got introduced to the Catholic faith since I was little. In La Piedad, Michoacán too. My grandma, man, she used to go to church every morning. To El Señor La Piedad.
That's right.
And yeah, man, I've been very involved with a lot of charity work. You know, from food banks. I give to food banks.
It feels great, right?
Yeah, man. It's a lot of that stuff. I just kind of do it, bro, and move forward. I don't look back. I don't talk about it too much. Right now, you gave me the opportunity to kind of bring light, to motivate other people to if they could, to do the same thing. But it's a big feeling, bro.
We're in weird fields. I'm in a different type of entertainment than you are, but we deal with a lot of the same people, and not a lot of people. Everyone wants to flex. Yeah, sure, we both have on rollies, but we're not right here like all weird about it. You know what I'm saying? But we also give back to the community, and it's like a vibe. It's, I don't know. I
100%, bro. I think it makes a big difference, bro. I think that kind of completes someone, personally. It's what sometimes, I sharing that glory with other people, bro. It's
amazing.
It's a better feeling, trust me, bro. Like, you could become very rolly and focus on yourself, and you're gonna feel empty, you're gonna feel lonely. You feel more important, you feel you feel brave when you do something like that. You feel strong, like literally strong. Sometimes you can go out there and win a fight and look good. But then outside, if you forget to act like a champion outside with the people, sometimes, you're just a good fighter, but nothing else. It's like, you're empty.
It's one thing to be the champ, it's another to be the people's champ.
Exactly.
Type vibes. And you talked about being strong. So my question to you is how do you remain strong after suffering the agony of defeat, brother?
Yeah, man. So, I lost my first defeat, came in 2021.
Controversial, might I add.
Yeah, man. It was it was out there, there was a knockdown after a clinch. But, it's protect yourself at all times. So
gotta respect it.
Sometimes you gotta just accept it and learn from it and not do it again. It was a fight, though, that I know in my mind. And I think anybody that's competitive would think the same thing. It was something it was a fight that I felt like I lost. I let it go, kind of. It was because of that mistake that I made, more than him being the better fighter. But I won 3 fights after that, bro. And right now, I'm just, it was difficult, because at first you think, shit, like, is your stock gonna drop? You know what I mean? Like, are your fans gonna walk away? And boxing is something like, everybody has an opinion these days with, through social media. Everybody's, comment very easily, and they do it without thinking. Someone can make a comment and then go on with their lives and forget about the comment they made. And then you might read that comment.
It might affect you dramatically.
Or your wife or your son or your uncle, your cousin might read it on your behalf. And even though they don't say nothing, it's a thing. It's a thing.
And it festers. It could even grow and shit.
Exactly. So, and then people, some people, bro, they just, they like to be like that, man. And God makes them and they hang out with each other, bro. And
the trolls kick it all together.
And all of a sudden they all come, it just takes one bad comment to motivate the other people to make those comments. And,
super, super valid, brother.
And then, but at the end of the day, bro, like, you got to think about, like, your team, like Garcia. He still believes in me. My manager, he's still there working hard. My stock never dropped. I'm still getting paid the same. The fans, the real fans never left.
Mentally,
your family was there.
Mentally, how did you bounce back?
Mentally, it took me a while. Like, it took me a while, bro. Like you almost walk with a little bit of shame. You know what I mean? Like, because for a long time, you were just like this hero for a lot of people that doesn't bend easily. You know what I mean? And then obviously they got to see me, fall in the sense of losing. So it was hard, bro. But I prayed. I prayed for myself, and one bad day shouldn't define who you are, bro. Because we're not gonna be sharp every single day. We're people, bro. Like, we're not robots. You know what I mean? Like, and I know the expectations sometimes are really high, and they expect you to look at all the time. But it's okay to have a bad day. Just as long as you don't let all the negativity get to you, bro, and you just continue on and work hard. And don't lose faith in yourself.
Respect that. It's hard. It's hard to take that advice and live with that advice.
Bro, sometimes you gotta ask yourself, bro. Like, you look at someone that's you tell yourself, man, that dude does everything wrong. He disrespects people, he's flashy, and he's making all this money. But it's like, who, for the people, he might be the guy that to look up to, but then you tell yourself, like, how does God want you to be? Does God want you to be like that, more like that, or more like you? You know what I mean? The way you are. So I tell myself, you know what? Like, I think, and I, and I pray on it, bro. And I feel like, I think living more like God, it's the biggest win, bro, than living more like a king or a prince. You know what I mean? That's all rolly, bro.
You've taken 3 victories since then.
Yeah, man.
Found a way to bounce back.
Yeah, yes, sir.
Any of those fights difficult? Did you step in with any doubts or any weird
My last
shit?
fight I did, bro. My last fight it still took me, like I said, it took me 13 months. Because I was making that move, after Top Rank was, they were not giving me what I was asking. It took me a couple months, where I said, just keep your money, but let me go. And it took me some months to negotiate, and I talked to Eddie Hearn, I talked to all the promoters, bro. And Oscar, I just felt like we connected again. I think Oscar's back on it, bro. Like, people can say what they want, but he's talking about it. He's talking about boxing every single day. And you need a promoter like that, because that's what's, entertains the people, So, and he's, you see his, now his partnership with the Saudi people.
That's crazy.
That's crazy, bro. I mean, it's going to change. These guys are changing the boxing, at least for the next couple of years.
They got bread, fool.
Yeah, so I think that's what fighters want. They want to make the most money. Yes, sir. So, that was tough. Being away from the sport for 13 months and getting back to it. There's gonna be some doubt.
Let me ask you this: in all of your years being a professional boxer, well, just being a boxer, period, because obviously you're an elite fighter. Yeah. Has anyone ever tried you in the streets?
Early on in my career, bro, and to this day, you might see a comment here and there that makes no sense. You know what I mean? Like, you become different, bro. Like, now it's like, I almost don't really take it serious, bro. Like,
of course not.
You know what I mean? Like, yeah, I know who I am, bro, and I'm content, bro. And but I ain't afraid, bro. Like,
have you gotten into a street fight?
I have, man. I never started.
Generally, allegedly.
Yeah, it's been probably right before No, actually, bro, let me tell you a story. After my last fight, some guy broke into my ranch. Literally, I was on Mother's Day, 2 weeks after my fight. I was hosting Mother's Day at my house in Fresno. I live in a very nice gated community. But my ranch is outside in the outskirts of Lemoore, California. It's a cool little ranch, 15 acres. I have animals, roosters, all that. And some guy broke into the house, and that's where we keep our equipment for Ramirez Zag. So we have our trucks that our supervisors use. So our supervisors, what they usually do, they go in the morning, like at 5 a.m.
Yeah, they park the car, stuff, they take the company vehicle.
They take the company vehicle. So we were having Mother's Day at my house, and my in-laws, they stay at the house at the ranch. My in-laws, and my father-in-law, he takes care of all my animals on my farm. And
shout out to your suegro.
Yeah, man. He's a pretty badass, bro. He's good with roosters, a JCR farm. But he was, when he got there, the doors were open, the windows were open. It was like, something's up, We have our entryway from the freeway to the main house. we have maybe like at least 100 yards, you know, of an entryway. And so not everybody could, could get in. You have to get in. It's only one way in, one way out. And, but it's right next to the freeway. And, so when I got there like at 11:30 because I realized that they took the company's truck. They stole the truck. So I went out there. They took, I have a couple guns there. They took the ammunition of the guns. They couldn't find the guns, but they took all this ammunition, and we don't know who we're dealing with. You know what I mean? Like, everybody in the Central Valley knows who I am. So it must be some guy from out of central part of California.
Someone that doesn't know.
Someone that doesn't know, because everybody there knows who I am. And anyways, I got there, and my father-in-law lives with his wife, and I only have sister-in-laws. I don't have a brother-in-law. And that's as far as my wife don't got a brother, don't got no brothers.
Yeah. Pure women.
Pure women. So there's pure women in the house, and my father-in-law they all panicked a little bit. They're like,
yeah,
hey.
so he felt pressed.
So I got there, and I was like, I'm gonna spend the night. I'm gonna spend the night so the girls could feel better, because they took a keychain that had the house keys, just in case they come back, which I doubt. But it's possible. Well, before you know it, it's 4:30 in the morning. I'm sleeping in the couch. My in-law wakes me up. He's like, Jose, let's go. And he comes out, and sure enough, the guy was there. He came to get more stuff. He said that he worked for a cartel, and that someone in that house owed him money, which obviously was
lies.
It was, of course, that guy he was something. He was on something, and he's like, there's people right now that are watching from a distance. He goes, I was like, hey, you got the keys for that truck? I went through all that bullshit. I was kind of turned on, and I was kind of quiet now. I really didn't want to hear him talk. And he's like, hey, he goes, I'll give you that truck if you give me that Hemi, which is now he's talking about my personal truck, the white truck. And I was like, which truck? And at the time I got a little closer distance without him knowing, and boom, smacked him, and knocked him out. And then I just kind of called the sheriffs. And the guy was probably like, he looked like a regular guy though. I felt bad too, bro. Like, he had his cowboy boots on. He had a jacket, Aria jacket that he had stolen from the house, but he looked like a regular guy, and he was just probably on something, and he just made the mistake on jumping in. So I called the sheriffs, I called my lawyer. But before that, this was probably right before I went professional, where I got in a street fight. Nothing that I've been proud of,
No, that was a good story. You're good.
And but it's just to protect the family, bro. I'm down to get down.
So let me ask you this. What advice would you give the people at home that encounter bullies or whatever? What would you tell them how to win a street fight?
Well, first and foremost, man, don't fight for free, bro. Try not to fight. Honestly, man, like, I think everybody's going through some issues, bro. Like, and if you have no choice but to defend yourself, then, defend yourself. Swing first. If you're gonna get close, throw the first punch. Most likely you'll win.
Any form or advice or what type of punch you want them to throw first?
Put all the weight behind that punch, bro. Whichever punch you feel that's your strongest punch, use that one. But if you're doing it just to make a point, because I'm strong and because I'm, better, bigger for no reason, nah, don't do that, bro. That's, you know what I mean? There's no need.
I respect.
You know what I mean? Go out there and use that strength to do something good with it, Take the kids, work with some other kids out there, and, be involved in your community as, in some athletic way or form, In
a more positive way.
Yeah, man. But to each his own. Everybody's a little different.
So stand on your first punch and make it count.
Make it count. Don't miss.
Who are your top 5 favorite boxers of all time, my man?
Oh, bro, that's a good question. I think I gotta say Tyson is one of them, bro.
I'm not
Tyson.
mad at it.
Like, the way he would use those angles when he would throw his body punches, that power, bro. And Chavez, of course, another guy I look up to when I was little, watching boxing. Then when YouTube, when I started going on YouTube and watching boxing, Chavez one of the guys, and then Salvador Sanchez was another guy.
Legendary.
Oscar De La Hoya, who became an Olympian in 1992, the year I was born. That was another guy who Oscar had one of the best jabs in the game, bro. And to this day, his jab was badass. Who else? Probably. I mean, there was a lot of great Mexican fighters, but I would say maybe Manny Pacquiao, bro. Manny Pacquiao. I got to spar with Manny Pacquiao. The way he, the way he became an A division world champion. That's
amazing.
Yeah, that's the most difficult thing you could possibly do. Coming all the way from like 100 and something pounds, 110 pounds to like 154 pounds. That's just crazy. You know what I mean?
Nah, I feel it. Who are 5 boxers you'd like to fight?
Right
now,
now,
the opportunity.
The number one guy I've been trying to reach, bro, and fight is Teofimo Lopez. Another guy that I had to go through to make that fight happen is probably Arnold Barbosa. That's the fight I'm trying to get.
Shout out to Arnold.
Who else? Any world champion. I mean, there's not one particular name, bro. Like any world champion, I just want to fight the best.
You're probably going to have a biased answer on this, but
yeah.
Who do you think is a better promotional company, Golden Boy or Top Rank?
I mean, they each see the thing about that, bro. I feel like they all have their timings.
Yes,
and I think Oscar right now will fit this generation. Like
it's Oscar.
It's Oscar. But overall in the history of all promotional boxing, and even I think Oscar would also agree is that Barbarian was one of the best.
He's a legend.
A legend in promoting. He's the one that took boxing to the next level. He really did. So you can't. The thing is that
pretty valid, super valid.
Yeah, the thing that Mr. Arum is 92 years old. He's not. He doesn't have the energy now to continue doing so. And whoever took him charge, his stepson or whatever, Todd the Buff, he's not the same. He doesn't have the same energy. He's kind of dry. And, so.
I respect it.
Sometimes, there's different timings. But I'll say right now, Oscar.
This is another unique question that I didn't think about till just now, till I saw the legend look at me right now with his feet up right there in his dad's chair.
Yeah.
How would you describe the training differences between Mr. Roach and Mr. Garcia?
I think they each have their things, bro. It's just, again, it has to do with timing. I got to Ferdy. I got to see the best part of Ferdy as well, and I probably missed it actually, but I got to see some of that still, that good energy that Ferdy had. And then you get to a point where you feel like you have to expand your skills and learn some more. And then Robert, still being young, has the energy. And the energy in this gym, bro, it's just, you can't beat it.
I'm here all the time. It's amazing.
And I think that has to do a lot with the coaching. It's the environment of where you're training and who you're training along with, and who's your sparring partner. Every sparring partner in this gym, bro, they want to be world champions. They're not just here to make you look good.
Nobody right here is holding back any punches, G. I've seen some dramatic shit happen in sparring.
That was the main reason. That was one of the main reasons I came to Robert Garcia, because of that. Because he had, when my last fight with Freddie Roach, I fought for the world title, and Robert Garcia sent his son Pita with Lindolfo and Tanahara to help me out. And they were going out there to spar with me. I was sparring with Lindolfo 6 rounds and 6 rounds 4 rounds with Lindolfo, 4 rounds with Tanahara, and 4 rounds with another guy out there, wild card.
Mm-hmm.
So you can already see that the timing at the wild card boxing gym, there wasn't too many sparring partners. It was kind of you're by yourself, and and I wanted to see more see my skills play out with different guys, and that's why I came with Robert and his father, man. They've been nothing but good to me and my family.
I respect it.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Rayo's victory?
It was a good fight. I was there, man. I was close enough to see that he clearly won.
That was a clear W.
I was telling Rick, my manager was like, hey, he's, Pitbull's throwing a lot. Well, he's throwing a lot, but it's all body. It's all, it's all body.
It was a lot of blocks, too.
Rayo was blocking everything, making him miss. And the times that Rayo did lose his balance is because of Pitbull's trying to smother him, putting his weight on him,
And that wasn't very frequent.
It wasn't clean, and it wasn't a clean punch that hurt Rayo. I don't think Rayo was hurt. Maybe in the 11th round he got hit with one punch. I think he took it well. I think he had the confidence that he was doing good, and he just the best way I could say it, he was very accurate with his punches. He landed a lot of his pinpointing his punches very good.
That was crazy.
Every punch he threw was landing. You know, he's throwing those beautiful short uppercuts.
I'm not saying I didn't have faith in my boy because I saw his whole freaking training camp.
Yeah, he was here for a long time.
I'm just saying that was fire to witness that type of performance.
Yeah, man. You know, he was the underdog for sure.
I said it was a master class. He
looked good.
To me, he made Pitbull look very beatable.
Yeah, and Rayo is still a young fighter, bro. Like
super young.
All he needed was what we call that cormillo, you know? He needed that cormillo. But if he would have had that cormillo, which he'll get it after this win, he'll get it. He'll naturally get it. But if he would have had that cormillo, he could have hurt Pitbull.
What exactly does cormillo mean for the people?
Cormillo is when you got the you know that
the grit.
The grit, bro.
I respect it.
Yep. Yes.
Does this loss hurt Pitbull?
Yeah, Pitbull is very popular, bro. You know, so that doesn't. Then a lot of people that were there thought Pitbull, you know, won.
I'm a big time Pitbull fan, and I don't think he won.
Yeah, you know, so you know, it's just the way people see it. You know, from when you're in the arena and you're watching it from a distance, you can't really see the clear shots that Rayo was landing and the way he was blocking.
I watched it on TV.
But a lot of people that see it on TV, they saw it. A lot of people that saw it on TV, you know, they're all saying Rayo won the fight. And the people in the arena, and they're saying, you know, I think it was a robbery. But I think now people are they went back home and they're watching it, and now they're accepting that Rayo won clearly, you know. But you know, Pitbull just became very likable to the Mexican people, bro. Like la gente mexicana lo quiere, you know.
It is what it is.
They love him. You know, he seems like a humble guy, and you know, and a lot of people I think they'll still follow him to see what, you know, if he comes back, you know.
For sure he's going to come back. It's not like he got knocked out dramatically.
Nah.
He just looked how he looked.
They just want to see if it's because, you know, then what happens is after this fight, people start saying, oh, he's one-dimensional. And that could mentally affect Pitbull, thinking like, shit, am I really one-dimensional? And also the fans could be like, maybe Pitbull's only one-dimensional. Maybe he's not as good as we thought, you know? So it's like, I think a lot of people are going to watch him, and if he looks good and he looks great his next fight, you know, and then he's going to get that love again.
Well, shit. That's all I got for you, brother.
Yeah, man.
It's always a pleasure seeing you in the gym. I don't plan on asking you to hit me ever again.
Yeah, man.
But I look forward to all the stuff you got going on in the future. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna see some gold around your waist yet again.
Sure, man. Hopefully, man. God willing, bro. That's the goal.
Is there anything you want to leave the people with before we go, my brother?
And just shout out, man. Shout out to all the hardworking people out there, bro. Like, you know, it's you guys motivate a lot of people, man. People working out there in the fields. People, you know, all the blue collar jobs, man. People working in the oil fields. That, you know, people working on truck drivings. You know, all the truck drivers out there, bro. Like, you know, they really make the economy go around, bro. So, you know, I appreciate every single hardworking people out there. All the boxing fans, you know, I appreciate you, you know, keeping up with boxing, and, you know, Jose Ramirez is coming back strong.
You heard it here from the champ himself. This has been another episode with Beyond the Label podcast. Make sure you guys check out shakawear.com for all your streetwear essentials. Stay posted for all the good stuff coming from Jose. And yeah, catch you guys on the next one.